Hey everybody, welcome to Geek Rant. It's Greg here again on the channel with Toby, and today we're going to be talking about episode 3 of the new She-Hulk series. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. We're going to be talking about episode 3 of the new She-Hulk series.
Yeah.
And after our last review, I was hoping that this might get a little bit better because I didn't think it could get much worse.
No, it was
we
pretty bad.
It was pretty
Episode 2.
bad, and I hate to say it, it's not got any better. It might have
No,
even got a bit worse.
I would say it's got worse.
It's I'm at a loss to know what to say about this one really, because it is, I don't even know what type of show this is supposed to be. None of the characters seem to be any of the characters we've the stand-in characters, Wong and so on, don't seem to be the characters that we've seen in all the other
That's a good
Marvel,
point. That is
you
a good
know,
point. Yeah, I
episodes.
think. Yeah, I think that having watched the third
Yeah,
episode,
yeah,
what it looks like to me is that this is going to be very much even more throwaway, even more light-hearted, comedic. Well, attempting to be comedy
yeah,
show that is just really has it's just meant to be just throwaway, which is
yes,
it's such a shame
yeah,
because there seemed to be a lot of promise for this character. What this is
yes,
essentially one of Marvel's greatest female comic
yeah,
characters. Now
yeah,
there is no doubt levity in her comics. You know,
yeah,
there's there is that element to her adventures,
yes,
but they've completely discredited the whole character and
yeah. They've taken such a weird approach with this, haven't they? It doesn't feel like they're making any effort at all. I
yeah,
mean, the writing is really bad, and the character that, I mean, for one thing, there's no real action in this show, is there?
no,
Even when
absolutely.
they have an action sequence, it's just it's just flat and boring, and there's no real energy to it.
They don't,
You
and
know,
that don't actually show the action
they
that
don't,
it
do
happens
they?
off screen.
It's really weird, and it just doesn't look. I mean, obviously, we start this at the end of the last episode. We saw that the Abomination. There was a video clip of him having broken out and was
Yeah,
going to fight in a fight club type thing in the Shang-Chi film.
yeah. So they
Which
clearly
we've
need to explain this, don't they?
they do, and I think at the very end of that, when it was in the movie, I think you do see, when he's taking him back, he opens up a portal and you can see the sort of confinement cell in the background.
Right.
So it obviously kind of links, but it it feels like it's just, oh, we're forcing this in somehow. It doesn't feel like it's got any real
Yeah.
relevance to the story
They
much.
had to account for it, didn't they?
They did. I think
Within their
that's it, isn't it?
times. Yeah. So they
Yeah.
within their time scale, they had to account for this particular happening.
Yeah.
And so they've allowed so they've allowed this necessity to write this episode to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So they've realized, oh, we better explain this rather than concentrate on the main storyline for the show, for the episode. They've
Yeah.
just basically had to kind of botch it, didn't they? They're kind of like,
Yeah.
let's get Chow in. He suddenly
Wong.
appears. Wong, sorry. I'm thinking of the actor, the writer, the Gao as the writer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
get Wong in, and
Hmm.
he then appears, and he acts really stupidly,
He,
doesn't he?
it's it's
It's like,
unbelievable, isn't it?
yeah, they demasculate him, and they make him seem
I,
stupid.
I I just think they make him look stupid. I
Yeah,
think
I think
I think he
he looks.
comes, obviously,
They
she
take his energy,
goes,
don't they? They take his
yeah,
power and his strength,
yeah,
and suddenly
yeah,
he's just a bit stupid,
yeah.
and he doesn't understand the law. So he's doesn't seem to understand what she's saying to him. It's like really weird.
Yeah, and I mean, he admits, "Oh, I took him out, and I'm gonna. It's my fault." And I broke someone out of jail. He basically admits, "I broke someone out of jail."
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, great, thanks for telling me that." Don't worry about the fact that you're probably gonna get arrested later for breaking, a hardened, a super
Yeah.
criminal out of prison, just to have a fight at a fight club. And I mean,
A
he tries to
worthy
explain that
opponent.
yeah, a worthy opponent for his training as the Sorcerer Supreme. And to me, that was like, what? No, you went to a fight club to earn some money. That wasn't anything to do with being Sorcerer Supreme or
Yeah,
training. That was
that's
really
true.
bizarre.
That's
Um,
true.
do you know what I mean? So I'm like, they've made him really thick, haven't they?
Yeah.
He's got, like you say, doesn't understand anything about law, which is like,
Which he should do because
he's yeah,
he's in charge of that. He's the head of this house. He would have
yeah.
some sort of experience, wouldn't
He
he?
was a
So,
librarian. He was in charge of all the
mm,
knowledge. He would
mm,
have read and learned about these things. And I yeah, that one just kind of threw me a little bit because he was just talking rubbish, wasn't he? Oh, should we put him in
yeah,
the mirror universe or in the shadow universe and this sort of thing? And it's like, what? You
yeah.
wouldn't
That
say
was
that. You are the Sorcerer Supreme. You would take this very seriously.
yeah,
And want to repent for your failings.
yeah. It's
That's
that lightheartedness, that throwaway thing that I
yeah,
was talking
yeah.
about. You can't apply it to some characters because just
No,
it destroys that character to a certain extent. You have to try to
yeah.
delete that experience of that character from your mind because it's
I
taken them somewhere else.
It's almost like we have to say that this series isn't canon. It's not
Yeah,
really part of the Marvel universe. I'm hoping at the end they can say, yeah, this was all just a funny TV show that was being created by these people and is not real. Because
yeah.
it's all the way through. It's just
I can't.
and
I mean, I don't want
I'm
to see
finding it
what they
hard to
do with
watch it.
Daredevil. I mean, it is what are they with Daredevil coming in. How are they going to destroy his character on screen? I mean,
This is
the
what's
other,
worrying.
yeah. I mean, we then
It's just a show
see,
of cameos, isn't it? Really, it's just a show of cameos that haven't been very good. I mean, even the old Tim Roth, character
yeah,
was pretty stupid, wasn't it? That wasn't
yeah. I mean,
really,
last episode, I was kind of sold on this line that he had that he was forced into being who he was. But
yeah,
this time, they just take it even to another level of
yeah,
stupidity. So they're having a court case
yeah,
inside the prison with
yeah,
the
yeah.
with the I don't know, the heads of the prison,
That's right.
and
The
she's
parole board.
presenting it.
Yeah,
Yeah, the parole board. Sorry, yeah, the
yeah.
parole
No,
board,
that's all right. That's okay.
and
Yeah,
she's presenting this case, and
yeah,
he's there. Tim Roth is there as Abomination, and he's he's just being really stupid. He's
yeah.
saying stupid things. He's got his pen pals who are lined up in the viewing
I mean,
chamber.
that would have been enough for me if if I was on the parole board and I saw that there were 7 women all
Yeah,
dressed up in a cult like outfit who were going to take care of him once he's out of the thing. That
yeah,
wouldn't have made me want to release him. That would have made me think
no,
this guy's going to be the head of a cult, and we shouldn't really be letting him out,
that was really weird. And Tim Roth's
wasn't it?
explanations were quite
Yeah.
lame this time, sort of
Yes.
very sort of
Yeah. Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Setting up a
Yeah.
yoga retreat and stuff like that. It was all.
Yeah.
It was just so sort of light. I just thought, what makes sense? You can get
Yeah.
humor out of things
Yeah.
that make sense rather than just randomly scatter the seemingly hippie type approach to a
Yeah.
character across the screen. It
Yeah.
was stupid. I don't know.
Yeah. It was disappointing, and I mean, I'm hoping that that's not the only action, because again, we wanted to see Abomination, didn't we? Get out
Yeah,
and do something, and there'd be a bit more, you know. We see him obviously transform at one point, don't we? Where he says, "Oh,
yeah,
look, I'm in control of my power," and he's sort of, tried to sort of explain that, and then she goes into a massive panic, doesn't she? It's
yeah.
not
Everybody goes into a massive
like
panic in the room.
Yeah, it's
He's
like,
in this
hang on,
cell.
he's contained, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's in a
Everybody goes
contain.
bonkers.
Yeah, it's like,
The
and
patrol.
her particularly, because it's like, well, hang on, did you not? Why don't you discuss any of this with your client? Why, the legal side of it is just terrible.
How is he
Haven't
controlling Abomination though?
Yes,
There's
yeah.
no
How did he
explanation for
force
that.
him to come?
Yeah.
He's
What is it?
it's
Does he transform like she does now? So he's in control of it and he's a nice guy while he's
yeah,
Abomination.
yeah.
Because Abomination's meant to be this kind of crazed
Bit like the
monstrosity.
Hulk, isn't it? Just like
Yeah.
a bad version of the Hulk that's, this
Out of
big
control.
crazed creature. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
but then
absolutely.
suddenly he's fine with that
Yeah.
transformation.
Yeah.
It was so confused. It was so weird. And I was flabbergasted by watching it. I just like, what is
Yeah.
going on here?
I know.
This is
I
crazy.
know.
And then
It
we
wasn't good.
have the other side to this episode. Now, the
Yeah.
episode is actually called "The People versus Emil Blonsky," but
Yeah.
half of it deals with the idiot in the office,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
Dennis
Dennis, that's it.
Drew Matthews.
Couldn't remember
My
his
God,
name.
it was absolutely terrible. There's about 10, 15 minutes of this Dennis character on
Yeah.
screen. And I was
Yeah.
hoping that he was just going to appear for a moment, in the first episode, because there's some reference back to this character in the comics, and he's an
Yeah.
irritating
Yeah.
guy in the office.
Oh, yeah.
But for some reason, they draw in this Runa character,
Runa.
this
Yeah.
this elf, this magic elf.
I know.
What
I
the
mean,
hell? And she's pretending
I
to
mean, we're
be.
laughing at it. It wasn't funny, was it? This was the
No, it
thing.
wasn't
None
funny.
of this was funny.
Megan
This
the
is more funny
Stallion.
talking about it and making,
The
these
disbelief.
comments.
The
It's
disbelief.
just,
Like, what
yeah.
is going on? He's
I
suddenly
know.
dating Megan the Stallion, who's actually Runa, the shape-shifting elf. What the hell is going on? And they're only doing this to make
Wow.
Dennis look like a knob.
Absolutely.
This
Absolutely.
whole plot is to make this
It's,
man look
I know.
stupid. Why?
Yeah.
Why would you have a subplot? And at one point, Tatiana Maslany,
Yeah.
she breaks the fourth wall
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
say connecting story A
Oh,
to story
connecting the two
B.
stories. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like, why? You're not though. You're just talking about it. There's no relevance. The stories don't mix. There's absolutely no
No.
reason for it to exist.
No.
And in fact, we meet
Exactly.
this new lawyer, don't we?
Yes.
Who is dealing with this case because
Yeah.
Dennis doesn't want Jennifer to
No,
deal with
that's
his
right.
case.
Mm.
I just thought this was potentially the stupidest storyline ever written for Marvel. This subplot. I just
and also that I can't remember what that other lawyer's name was, but I mean when we saw him in the last
Pug.
episode,
Was it
sorry,
Pug, the lawyer, or which one? Dennis,
no, not Dennis, the
the
guy who's
guy that
defending
represents him.
Dennis. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's Pug, isn't it?
is it? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, when we saw him introduced in the last episode, he was like majorly camp, wasn't he? I mean, he was like, "Oh, hi, I've got your little basket," and and then in this one, he seemed like he was a different character. I was just like,
Yeah,
"What
that
the
is
hell's?
terrible
What the
writing.
hell?"
That's what that is.
Oh man, really bad, wasn't it? I
Yeah,
was, yeah. I mean, the elf thing kept taking the form of, I mean, she turned up at her office, at
yeah,
She-Hulk's office, at the same time that
yeah,
I suppose maybe she was following him,
yeah.
but
Maybe we
it's
have to
like,
just
oh,
assume that, don't we?
we have to assume she was following him, but
And the elf
I mean,
turns
all
into
that sort
Dennis,
of, yeah, all that sort of stuff
and
was
then the
just
elf
like,
turns into the judge
yes,
halfway through.
yeah,
I mean,
I know,
it was so stupid. The case would have been thrown out, and Dennis would have been given the full. Anyway, he
I
was. I mean,
know.
it was inevitable. I don't know what this humor was, but it wasn't funny.
No, I know.
It
I
was
mean, they
just
tried to throw in some,
embarrassing and cringy.
yeah, they tried to do some funny things like that bit where he says, "Oh, you're not in Asgard, so you've got no immunity." I mean, one thing that doesn't really, that's not how it works. I mean, if an ambassador is in the country that they're the ambassador to, sort of thing, from, they do have immunity. That's just part of the process, isn't it? So if a
Yeah.
Chinese ambassador was in America, they would have, you know, so that didn't quite
Yeah.
work. But then when they made their little joke about, oh, Asgard isn't a place, it's a people, you know, I was like, they're just pulling in things that are just
Yeah. And I think at that point,
rubbish
it is
jokes, you
rubbish.
know.
It's total rubbish. It was just a
Yeah,
scattering of things they thought might be funny together. There's hardly any story. We made no progress on the
yeah,
storyline with this episode.
yeah,
It
yeah.
hasn't got us anywhere really, apart from the
No,
fact that Abomination is kind of let off. I
I
think
know.
ultimately you
And
have to
again,
say,
is that him now finished for the series?
I don't know. I hope not, because I love Abomination, but this is
But
I
it's
just
kind
don't
of
know.
like that finishes his storyline, doesn't it? Really,
It
he can go
does.
off now unless he's going to get into some sort of trouble later, I suppose. But
I think that
um,
what it does, what we have to ask ourselves here: who is responsible for this? Because it is terrible, and I think we have to point a finger at Jessica Gao. I think that
yeah,
she really
yeah.
has
Well, it's the writing that's so
the
bad, isn't
writing
it?
is so bad. I mean, she's got a credit as like the head writer for this,
Yeah, yeah.
so she's working with a team of
Mm,
writers, but I mean, she's basically from TV, and her list of credits are
mm.
kind of very scattered
Yeah,
across. Like she was involved with Rick and Morty,
yeah. Rick and
which she was
Morty. I knew did some
she
of
was
that.
she
Yeah.
was an executive story editor. She wasn't actually the writer necessarily on most of that.
Ah,
She just oversaw a lot of what that
right.
was.
Yeah, yeah.
She wrote Robot Chicken. You know
Yes.
she
Yeah.
wrote some of that, and
Right.
she's got some
Okay.
other kind of credits, like a couple of episodes here on different things, a couple of
Yeah.
episodes on Kung Fu Panda,
Oh,
the
okay.
Mighty Bee, stuff like that. So kind of quite a lot of very light-hearted stuff.
Yes.
And now she's been penned in to work on Star Wars Detours, the new TV series,
Oh,
which is in
really?
post-production. Yeah,
Right.
I don't know whether that's actually going to happen or not. So
Hmm.
but she's obviously been drawn into this setup, and I feel like she represents a lot of what is destroying good brands at the moment. She's
Hmm.
someone who doesn't know. She said she's read some of the She-Hulk comics, but she doesn't really reference them. And when she's asked in interviews, what would she like to add, she hasn't really got any answers to that. She doesn't know the storylines, and I personally don't know the storylines of She-Hulk, but it's apparent that she doesn't. And
No.
she has said in interviews she wanted to mine lots of different characters and just draw them into the show, which gives it no kind of historical basis.
No.
She's taking different elements and throwing them in, thinking, "Oh, that might work, and this might
Yeah.
work," but it
Yeah.
doesn't. It is just
No.
a
It's
seething,
got to be some
writhing
decent
pile of
reasoning.
crap.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. It is really bad, isn't it? I mean, it's got to. If you're going to introduce, the danger with any of these sort of universe type things is you can really fuck up all the canon. You can destroy all the character plots. You know, Wong is now looking like a complete dick, isn't he? You
yeah,
know, the Abomination just looks like, oh yeah,
a
yeah,
complete dick.
whatever. I smoke a bit of
Yeah,
weed or something. You know what I mean? That they are destroying characters, and it makes me worry. You know, like you said earlier, they got Daredevil, which was, you know,
one of the best TV
the
series that they've
the best
done.
one of the TV series. Now I
Yeah,
know we're not associating this with that TV series, and this is just a crossover, but
yeah.
still, we don't want to damage any potential future, you know, great new TV show on that side of things, do we?
Well,
And it really
he's
makes
penned
me
in for six
worry.
episodes. He's penned in for 6 episodes, Greg.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So
so
maybe the abomination thing is stopping, and then it's going on to another
I'm
set of,
just
you know,
looking here. Abomination's down for
storylines.
8 episodes.
Oh, really?
So
That's interesting. So
yeah, I
maybe he
don't.
still is in it. But yeah,
Hmm,
I mean, I think the other thing I thought was really weird about this whole episode is it was almost like a promotion for Megan the Stallion. You know, it
yeah,
was. it was like a
Who is
weird.
that? Is that a real person?
Yeah, it is a real person.
Oh,
She's an American singer performer. Not that
oh,
I particularly listen to any of her sort of music, but a bit like these sort of Nicki Minaj type person.
right.
Those kind of
Yeah.
singers. Does a lot of twerking. That's why at the end there you see all the sort of um I don't know if you
Hmm.
saw the after credits
No,
section. That was
no, I didn't. I know it was.
oh you mean
Well,
oh
didn't
man.
miss anything. What
Oh
did I miss?
man. Well,
Oh
what happened
no.
was, you should have seen it. What happened
Oh God,
was,
I'll have to
you see
watch it.
She-Hulk walking into her office and she goes, my favorite new client, Megan the Stallion, like this.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So she's then signing the thing. And then a minute later, they're playing music and they're both down twerking their asses, like flipping their asses. And I was like, oh my God, this is like, whoa, rock bottom. I can't believe you didn't see it. Oh
Oh,
my
I watched the end
God.
last week, but then I was just so appalled.
you,
As soon as the
you
trailer,
just
as soon
turned it
as the
off.
credits came up, I was like, oh, release me from the pain. Oh my,
Oh my God. You
why?
see the boss,
I don't
you
know
see the
how
boss
we
guy
can
look
carry on
in and
watching.
see them dancing and twerking together. And it was like, you know.
Yeah,
So I was just like the whole Megan the Stallion thing. I thought that's really weird that they've brought someone from real life into it,
that is weird, isn't
almost
it?
like, are they trying to then use that as we need to get people to watch the show? Like, but this has all been planned before. So that was I thought was really weird. This was so
Wow.
strange to see that she was in the courtroom. Do you remember in the courtroom bit?
Yeah, yeah.
That that
There's
woman
only
with the
one Megan Stallion,
yeah,
whatever her name is.
exactly this sort of thing. So,
Oh my God.
but yeah, it was really weird. The other thing that really stood out to me was how bad the courtroom drama side of it was. That none of it was very well done, was it? None of it was not like a good legal drama that you would see. There's no
I just couldn't say anything serious in it.
it
It didn't
was
surprise
yeah
me that that wasn't good. I just I watched it and I wasn't taking anything seriously that I was watching. It just if there had been a serious court case in it, I just
yeah
don't think that would have worked either. I just think that it's
no
just pathetic. There's no
no
foundation for it. How can they can't justify the argument, so they're not going to have a proper
no
court case. It's just
no
it's just it's just so light and crap.
it's they've come up with something here where they've tried to mix up a load of different ingredients and it just doesn't work, does it?
No,
They haven't got the comedy, they haven't got a good comedy writer on this.
no,
They're fucking up other characters, which
yeah.
is really worrying. Luckily, I mean, I think you said it last week, the only redeeming factor is these episodes are so short we don't have to tolerate it for too long.
Yeah, this one was a bit longer though.
This one was slightly longer, but still, it was still pretty poor, wasn't it?
Interestingly, if you look at the balance of content with
Yeah,
the Dennis storyline, he was at least 10 minutes, I thought.
yeah,
So
yeah. There
it
was too
probably
much on that.
was like 23 minutes of
Yeah.
She-Hulk. And then there was the fight at the end, wasn't there? Where these
Yes.
guys posed
Yeah.
no opposition. She didn't need
I,
it.
th- I,
They
I
couldn't
believe
curse her
it's
at
I
all.
believe it's supposed to be a group from comics called Wrecking Crew.
Right.
And so the guy who had the crowbar,
Yeah.
um, I think in the comics, this crowbar has a magic ability, gives him magic abilities or
Yeah.
something, and then
Yeah. You could see
and
they were
then he
magical weapons,
somehow,
didn't they?
I think it's somehow sort of disseminated that to some other guys as well. Some of this
Yeah.
power by getting hit by
Which is
lightning or
quite cool.
something,
I quite like
which is an
that whole
interesting
idea.
idea, you
Yeah.
know. But I mean, we said at the beginning of it that it was a terribly choreographed, set up,
Yeah.
whole sort of fight scene, wasn't it? Really. I mean,
Yeah.
she never seems to remember that she's the She-Hulk, does she? First of all, she always gets
No.
jumped on, and then goes, "Oh, yeah, I'm she. Oh, isn't this funny? Oh, I'm the She-Hulk." And then
Yeah.
she just stands there, gets hit by them a few times, and then just throws them on the floor. I just,
Yeah. Even when she gets full on whacked with the weapons,
yeah,
there's no
yeah.
effect whatsoever.
She just goes, "Oh,
Yeah.
right, okay."
So I know she's Hulk, but
Yeah.
for the purpose of the
Still,
fight, she could be a bit shocked by some of this, couldn't
Yeah,
she?
exactly. Stumble back a bit,
Yeah,
or
and like, oh,
something.
what are those? And then the guy tries to stab her with that extraction tool, doesn't he?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there's obviously this is tying into another part of the story, which we'll
yeah.
find out in the next episode. But
Yeah,
it's
because they
very
make
sort of,
reference to the boss, and so it's
yeah,
kind of who's going to be
what's
the
going on?
big bad boss who's after her blood. They're obviously working out you can now use Hulk blood to create more Hulk characters. So, be quite a useful thing to have, wouldn't it?
We'll
Really.
probably get
Um,
a Hulk Shih Tzu or something like that. That would probably be the it'd probably be
Starts out
something
as a
like
little dog.
that. Some stupid, yeah,
Yeah.
some stupid, cute little rat dog that is going to be.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, it
probably, that's
falls on
probably
the
what's
dog,
going
and
to
the dog
happen.
licks up the bit of, and
Yeah,
then
and there'll be some sort of tie-in somewhere with his dog.
I know, I know.
God,
This is
it's
this is the
dire.
problem with this, isn't it? It is really dire. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. I think
good.
we've slagged it off enough.
I think we've done enough on that one. Brilliant. Okay, cool. Okay, well, thanks very much for watching with us today. We're gonna persevere, even though it seems to be still going downhill. We'll watch episode 4. I am interested to see what they do with Daredevil.
Yeah, me too.
Hopefully, they don't completely destroy his character and what he's about. But I wouldn't put it past them. But if you like what we're saying, obviously, please subscribe to our channel. That'd be great. Make any comments or tick the like button. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
Otherwise, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you soon.